Hey everyone, it's Kalen, and welcome to season two of Kalen's Lens. I am so incredibly excited to be back and happy to be able to continue into having the passion to creating episodes for you guys. And I really want to grow this podcast this season. So if you are watching and you feel like that you were touched by any point in this episode, please do not forget to share this episode with your friends, your family, your loved ones, with anyone that you feel could do and use these lessons. Today's season premiere is with someone who has been a constant presence in my life for the past 4 years. She is literally, as I think Kim Kardashian would describe her, one of my lifers. She's been through all of the highs and all of the lows, right from that very first interaction in a science lesson back in year 11. And I think it was biology on a Thursday morning, but I might be wrong. So we'll move from that. And if I remember correctly, she either asked me to pass her some glue or we just started talking. I don't know which one it was, but damn, that one conversation changed everything. And from that moment, we became literal best friends. From endless times hanging out together to spending a day together in Manchester to go see Tate McRae on her last ever concert in her European leg. And gosh, that was a history making concert, if I say so myself.
It was.
I know for today's guest, there have been times where their inside voice, or as I refer to it, our bitch voices, have taken over. But today's guest is living proof that any moment you decide to ignore that voice and follow your dream, your life automatically improves. She embodies strength and ambition, but whilst remaining to her core. One of my favorite parts about this woman is how much she cares. She cares so deeply about every single person in her life. She is the most thoughtful sister to her older brother and her younger sister. She's an incredible daughter, and I couldn't be more over the moon to call this woman my best friend. I am so beyond blessed that she said yes to being a guest on Kanan's Lens, but more importantly, the very first guest on season two of this podcast. Today's guest is Amelia Green, and she's currently studying sports therapy at Loughborough, alongside working a part-time job and playing football for Coalville Town. She continues to grow in so many ways, and this episode is all about her, her resilience, and what it means to grow while staying true to yourself. So, making her podcast debut, I am incredibly excited to be joined by my dear friend, Amelia Green.
Hey.
Thank you for joining me today. How
No,
are
thank you
you?
for having me. No, I'm
How
great. How are you?
I'm good. I think life has just been crazy. Like, I think we were so busy
It
in
has.
December. You've literally just gotten back from York. How was it?
Yeah,
What was it like?
it was incredible. Honestly, the one of the best weekends of my life. It's great.
What did you get up to? Because like I see all the pictures of like York and like all like the historical
Mm.
churches. Never been, but
Oh
yeah,
my
like
God, you
what was
need
it?
to go. It was great. So like so York is the most haunted city in England or something like that. So
Oh,
all of it is like very like dungeony, medieval. Is great. So we did not the London dungeons. We did the York dungeons. Insane experience. 10/10 recommend. You can visit the Shambles, which is like the Harry Potter esque type visit. What else did we do? We did this cool like illusions museum. That was quite
oh.
cool. Um, yeah, and obviously ate some really good food along the way.
Okay, so you heard it right here, guys. York is the place. Like I've never been, but by the sounds of it, it is very much like the picturesque vibe that I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like everyone shows that like York is, how it just works. I just feel like
York
it's,
Minster, by the way.
is it?
Did you York Minster? Oh my god, it's beautiful.
I've never ever heard of that in my like life. What is a
It's
York Minster?
beautiful. It's like I don't know if it's some type of like church or something. I don't know. I'm not clued up on the history, but oh my god, it's beautiful. You should
Oh my
definitely
God.
have a look.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go to York at some point this year.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
am. But thinking about York, and I feel like it's such a niche thing, like being able to go on trips whilst you're at uni and doing all that. And obviously you're at uni right now.
Yeah.
What is one thing that university has taught you about yourself that kind of surprised you?
Oh, it's that I'm a lot stronger than I think I am. You know, every assessment I go into, I'm like, I'm stuck, I'm not going to do it, I'm, going to struggle. And yet, every single time you get a grade that you are shocked at. So it's definitely thinking that, you are harder than you think and that you can do more than you think you can.
I think that just says it better than anything. I think it's just like you've got to have the courage, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
coming out of something and being like, you know what, I really, really don't feel great about this, but I'm going to try my hardest anyway. And coming out of it, you feel way more positive and your motivations are up and everything is up. For those that don't really know what sports therapy is, because I can't lie, I had absolutely no idea it was a degree. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was going on until you told me that that's what you were going to go study. What is it?
So it's very much like physiotherapy. So you have physiotherapy, which is, I've actually written some notes down so I can get things right. So it's a lot more of a broad term physiotherapy, and it mainly focuses on like your general health and your daily functions, so like your daily living. But they look at everything in the body. So they look at like your neuromuscular health, they look at your respiratory health, your musculoskeletal health. They look at every part of your body. Whereas sports therapy, we only really look at the musculoskeletal areas. And we do that by focusing on sporting injuries and sporting problems. So, like I said, we're very sports focused, as the name states. But we look into things like injury prevention, injury rehab, and different things like that.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
like taken aback because just like thinking about it, I'm just like, oh, physiotherapy, it's everything to do with physiotherapy, like the muscular side. But then when you like take a step back and it's like it's something completely different. It's something
Hmm.
super niche as well. Like it's just focused on
Yeah.
sports, focused on the injuries, focused on maintaining that health of that athlete. I
Hmm.
think that in itself is even crazier. The fact that that's not talked about enough, because there might be so many people who are just like, and I remember being 16 and we were like, everyone was like, some people were like, I want to become a physiotherapist, but it's like, there's an alternative route, there's a different
Yeah.
route that nobody spoke about. Like, I don't even think we had a conversation about sports therapy back in
No.
GCSE times. But what was it that made you want to study it?
To be honest, I don't know. I still don't know. Because this wasn't my original plan going into uni. I obviously want to do my lifelong dream of becoming a police officer. So originally I was going to Derby to study policing services, I want to say it was called, something like that. Um, but my life kind of took a flip on the switch because I found a boyfriend, and I'm never really a person that likes staying away anyway. So I got really nervous coming up to it and just decided that I didn't want to stay away. So decided to find a course that was more local to me. And also I wanted that backup of if the things didn't go to plan in the policing industry, that I had something that I could do coming out of it. And obviously I've always really enjoyed sports. So I was like, go find something sporty, and somehow walked into sports medicine. So I'm not quite sure how it happened,
Yeah.
to
I
be
mean,
honest.
I think that's in itself is just like courage, because I feel like there's so many people out there who are like, oh no, I've submitted all my applications, like this is it. This is the only choice that I can go for. But you're living proof that you can change. You can change the decision that you make. You can divert to a different path and it's absolutely fine. And you can do that in a really short amount of time as well. Because I
Yeah.
remember it being like I think it was around June, May when the sort of like decision was fluctuating in your mind. And I remember like policing and I was going to Derby. And then by August, it was like a completely different uni, a completely different environment, but it was an environment you had known. Do you think you would have
Mm,
made that decision had you never have gone to Loughborough College to begin with?
probably not. I think, to be fair, the 2 years I spent at Loughborough College, I had some of the best 2 years of my life. Like, I really enjoyed my course. I really enjoyed the like teachers and the lecturers and their style of teaching, and I just thought, why leave? Like, why not? It's 20 minutes away from my house. I can live at home. Like, why not find something that's a bit more local instead of forcing myself to go out my comfort zone and do a course that I wasn't so sure on in a city that I've never been to, type of thing.
I think that makes so much sense because it's more like the pragmatic route, whereas you could just pull a me and leave 2.5 hours to a city you've probably visited like once in your life. But yours is really a sort of thought out plan. It's a thought
Yeah.
out. I knew that I'm not 100% sure about the course, and that's fine. Like, that is completely okay and acceptable. And it's like, I want to stay surrounded by my family, by my people that I love so deeply, the people that I know will always then be there for me. And I don't have to leave to go to a city that I probably ain't even going to enjoy because I can't lie, I've never been there
No,
before. So I think
no.
it's really courageous because it's very few people want to stay at home. A lot of
Mm.
people do want to leave and move to the city or move to a completely different part of the country. How did first year go for you? Because I know everyone speaks about leave if you stay at home, it's sort of a harder experience. Did you feel like you had that?
Um, I wouldn't say it was harder. I'd say it was a very different to your typical uni experience. You know, with being far away, it's not like you can just message a mate on a Wednesday night and say, "Should we go out?" Because it takes planning, it takes transport, it takes everything. So, although my first year looks very different to most people's first year, I wouldn't have changed my first year for anything. Like, I still went out, I still enjoyed time with my friends, I still met up with my uni friends, you know, I still did everything that you would do at uni. It was just at a sparser level.
I think that in itself is just like really good because I don't really know how else to describe it because it's just like you were still able to have the uni experience that you kind of
Hmm.
wanted to have, but at a level that was respectful for you,
Yeah,
a level that you felt comfortable. And I think while still also being able to maintain your family life, because I know how deeply close you are, your family are, how
yeah,
deeply close you are to your parents, to your little sister, to your brother. I know the deep bonds, and I feel like for you, that was probably one of the best decisions you could have made
yeah,
because of that.
yeah, definitely. To be fair, I don't think I'd move away now, even if I got the choice.
I mean, I think that in itself is just like when you find a place that you're happy in, you find a
Yeah,
place where you know that you belong, that feels aligned with your values, it kind of creates happiness in every other aspect of your life.
hmm,
And I think in that essence, it's more like, this is me. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it, and I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck what anyone else says, but and let everyone else judge me. But I'm gonna do my uni experience for me. And like you said, you found a boyfriend whilst you were
I
at
did.
college.
I did.
How has that been? Because I know it's sort of has become long distance. How has that been navigating the long distance during uni?
Um, I think everybody, when they bring up a long-term relationship, they think, or long-distance relationship, sorry, everybody gets scared and everybody's like, "Oh, I'd never do that. I couldn't do that," type of thing. But honestly, I think for us in our relationship, it's been one of the best things we've ever done because he works full time, he can focus full time on his job. I'm at uni full time. I can focus on uni and getting my coursework, getting my assignments, revising, not having to worry about, oh, I need to go and see Jacob today, or oh, I've not seen Jacob in 2 days. Let me go and see him. You know, so we've got scheduled times where we see each other, and when we see each other, we make the most out of seeing each other, and it's actually really lovely.
I couldn't be like happier because I'm just like you can see it blossoming from you. Like you really when any time you ever make a decision, you make a decision that is purposeful, but you also make a decision that is aligned with who you are and not faking it. And I think that really is the epitome as to who you are as a woman. I think not to say that you're strategic, but you know what you want to do and you know where it
Mhm.
all falls in a line. And I think in that essence, it's like that is just years upon years upon years of work, years upon years of lessons, and going through some shitty situations before, going through shitty friendships before, and really it's just taking every single lesson from that and using it right now.
Yeah, I mean, like it did. It there has been hard times. There's always going to be hard times with long distance, but you know, if you stick with it, you realize that in some ways it's for the better, in some ways it's for the worse. But you get used to not being reliant on each other and being reliant on people's company. You know, like I love the time I spend with Jay, but I'm also very independent and I can do things on my own. I'm not reliant on him being there to do things with me. And I think that's the trap that a lot of people fall into in relationships, is that they become one person in a way. Everywhere they go together. So I think it's really nice to have that long distance where we can be two separate people, but we always know that we're there for each other.
I think that in itself is just healthy because
Yeah,
I feel like for a
definitely.
long period of my my life, I was really just like, I need to spend every single moment together. I really need to just be with them all the time, like whatever. Not that a relationship's ever happened, but that's just how I always have been in my mind. But thinking about it and really just taking every lesson I've learned from you over the past probably year of knowing that
Mm,
you guys have been together, I think in that essence, it's just like, you know what? Maybe long distance can actually work for me because
it can work.
I can do my own things. I can have a healthy balance, and we're not the same individual. We're not one. Like, I can go out with my friends, and you can go out with your friends, and like that in itself just seems picturesque. So, do you think you're at peace now knowing that you have that healthy, like, relationship?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's helped us future wise as well, which might sound really like odd, but I think like every day for us or every year for us is a little countdown to us moving in together. And I think that'll be a lot more special because obviously the distance will be broken and we'll be able to create like a happy home for ourselves. But obviously, like again, I would recommend long distance to anyone. It's great.
And I think that in itself is something that you never really hear because I feel like social media glamorizes it all. Like you've got to be
Mm,
together, like everyone's posting, they're always together, they're doing all this together, going on all the dates and whatever. But in reality, it's like you can be happier doing it the way that you want to do it and living a different version that suits you so much that actually aligns and makes you both feel happier. And like you said, it leads up to that one big moment, that
yeah.
moment where you move in together, that moment where you just then get to manifest all the things that you've been dreaming of and they come into fruition of, oh my God, we can go on a grocery shop together, we can watch the football together or watch the American football like you both love. And I think that
Hmm.
in itself is just like you're building up. And I think it's just more of a slow transition because everyone's like, you've got to be together all the time. As soon as you get into the relationship, that's it. Like boyfriend and girlfriend, you've got to be together 100%, whatever, bloody, bloody bullshit. Because you guys are living proof that if we take our time, we really create a foundation that actually is something good.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's not a day or an hour that goes by where I'm not like, oh, I wish Jacob was here. Like we miss each other constantly. But I think you learn quite quickly that, you know, every day that you count down to seeing like the next time you're going to see them, it's like Christmas when you see them again. It's great. Like I think my one top tip is to always plan when you're next going to see each other because it makes it so much easier, like not being in the unknown about it. So if you are going to do long distance, that's my top tip.
You heard it here, guys. If you are going to uni or you're thinking of going to uni and you're scared about the distance between you and your partner, just know it works. And like take that tip, plan it. Every time you're together, plan it. Plan that next time, plan that next adventure. Even if it's 6 months away, you're still going to see each other in 6 months. If
Hmm.
it's in a month, a week, you're still going to see each other. I think, and it's creating that like, oh my God, giddy little kid inside of you. Because I feel like it brings it out in a way.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like that bond is just like, in a way, it's unbreakable, I think.
And I feel like with that, and obviously you've just spoken about that bond and your ambition and how you're both really, really career driven. And obviously he's working full time, you're
Hmm.
working part time at uni, doing your degree, doing everything else in your life. How do you feel like you balance that ambition with taking time for yourself?
Oof, I don't know. That's a tough one for me because I don't really have much time in a day. Like I'm so blocked out, but I love it. I love it that way, and that's the way that I've chosen for it to be. Because I love being busy. I love keeping myself active and keeping myself moving. Um, and for me, everything I do is like a step towards my final career. So for me, doing these steps now is just going to better me in the future.
Damn. I think if anyone's going to take anything from that, everyone just needs to just like, all the little drip feeds I am getting, like everything is towards the future. The future is where it's
Everything.
at. And it's just knowing in the back of my mind and knowing in the back of your mind, like you are going to get there. Having the
Hmm.
mindset that you have, you're going to get there. And I couldn't be prouder of you, like getting to that position because I just think like you've gone on such a journey. And
Yeah.
I look at your journey from like this short, I say short, it's been 4 years like of knowing you. And one thing that I know is probably been really not difficult to speak about, but it's been a challenge during your entire journey is dyslexia. And
Yeah.
I know with the effect that obviously suffering dyslexia had on you during your GCSEs and like it took a lot out of you. It was really,
It
I
did.
saw it through you and I saw it you struggle with it. And I remember
Mm.
that point though, that struggle was a real turning point because I feel like in that moment something shifted because you absolutely smashed your results. You passed all your GCSEs, you got incredible grades. But in terms of self-belief, what was that transformation? What did it look like?
Um, I think dyslexia is quite an odd. It's not an odd one at all. It's not odd at all. It's just it's a different way of looking at life. You know, we see things very differently to everybody else, and I think you can either take that very much as a negative, or you can take it as a positive. And for years of my life, all I had my teachers say was, "You're not going to succeed. You're not going to pass. You're not going to go to uni." And I think one day I just got up and said, "I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to prove them wrong." And I think that's exactly what I went and did. You know, I was told I was never going to pass my English GCSE. I came out with, I think, a 5.6 in the end. I was told I wasn't going to pass maths, passed maths. I went to college, got good college grades, and now I'm at uni, which I don't think anyone ever saw me actually going to uni, let alone making it to second year. So you just got to prove them wrong.
Prove them damn wrong. And
Hmm.
like, if you're gonna take anything, ignore, let them. Let them say what they want to say. Let them judge you, let them criticize you, let them come at you saying that you're not good at this, you're not going to do that. Let them, but let you take control of that. And I think that is exactly what Amelia does. She takes control of everyone else's thoughts and uses that as a fuel. She uses every single one of those people's critical and whatever you want to call it, critical analysis, critical judgments, and that is her fuel. And I think especially having dyslexia, it can be sort of something that does knock your confidence. What did that kind of like experience look like for someone that may have dyslexia and like that knock on confidence? What was that sort of effect on you?
For me, especially during school, I think my lack of confidence ended up being I became a bit of a mischief. I was acting out at school quite a lot, um, especially in like year eight and year nine. I became a bit of a troublemaker, and I think that was all from people just not having belief, from constantly being told, "You're not going to pass. You're not going to go. You're not going to da 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 da." And, you know, it was even like getting my exam paper back, even if it was a silly little Monday morning test, and seeing everybody else getting like 9 and 10 and you getting 4 because you misread the question or you didn't read the answers right. And I think that ended up in me again, just acting out in school.
I think it's normal. Like, I think it's acceptable because when there isn't any institutional sort of like knowledge about it. Like I feel like especially when we were growing up, nobody as teachers really ever wanted to speak about dyslexia. Nobody really
No.
wanted to like I don't remember ever having like a PSHE or whatever those sort of shitty lessons were. Like I don't remember a single lesson being about dyslexia. I don't remember anything. And I feel like it's
No.
such and as well with that, I feel like there's such a stigma. There's a stigma
Mm.
behind it. Like people are like, oh, they've got dyslexia. Oh, but you're living proof that it's like you are not defined by having it and that you can create the life that you want to have.
Yeah, exactly. Like Yeah, I see the world a little bit differently, but I take pride in that because I'm the only one that sees the world the way I see it. Like, I may as well have fun with it and not just sit and gloom about it.
And I think now, like, dyslexia is your strength in a way. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it is the thing that is like, I have this, but it's not a weakness. And I think everyone made it out like it was a weakness, like it's something that's really, really gonna dampen like your career path, your career growth, and your trajectory. But in reality, it's a strength. And how does it now show up during uni? Has it been any times where it's been tough, but you've conquered through during like first year and
Mm.
into second?
Yeah, there was definitely a moment in first year. I remember I had one of my biggest exams coming up, and I remember I just broke down to one of my lecturers because I was like, I just can't do it. I'm not going to pass. I'm not going to. And funnily enough, she had dyslexia as well. And she managed to completely flip my mindset on it. She said to me, and I've actually written this down so I get it right. She said to me, I didn't succeed despite my dyslexia, but because of it. And it wasn't my deficit, it was my advantage. And just seeing her with dyslexia get through uni, get through her PhD, become a lecturer, and, actually do what we do outside. I don't know, it kind of flipped a switch in me to say, you know what, I can do this and I'm going to do this. And I came out with, I think, a 70% on that exam. So, like, although in my head I was like, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to pass, that's me over, like, you can prove yourself wrong as well. And I think that's what a lot of people don't see.
Damn. That in itself is just like, damn, like I could not have been prouder. Like sitting here as one of your best friends, just like knowing that you were going through that really, really tough moment in your life, in your career so far. Like this is a really, really important exam. But if it, and for having that lecturer there, having that individual there that completely shifted your mindset was like,
Mm.
this is your superpower. This is the thing that is actually going to make you pass. Like, it's going to be the thing that's going to get you the 70. And to be fair, like, getting a first class as well, like, that in itself, I think, is like history making in my eyes. Like,
Mm.
I think because a lot of the stigma, everyone's like, you're not going to do well in school, you're not. But then you're living proof that I have it. But I am absolutely smashing the boundaries and I'm creating history, not only in the world, but my own history. Like I am getting to the place of becoming a police officer. I'm getting to the place of moving on to the next phase of my life by using this as the superpower that gets me.
Yeah, and I think, it did take a while for me to get to this sort of view on it. Like, I'm not going to say that having different colour paper or one of those little overlay things is easy because you can literally, as soon as you pull it out, feel the judgment from everybody. But I'm over it now. Like, I'm at uni and I have pink paper. I think it's a slay. So, you know, if you're struggling, just maybe try and shift that mindset as, you know, you're doing it to help you, not to help anyone else. Like, by doing that small change of using a different coloured piece of paper, it doesn't matter what people think because you're helping yourself out.
You are doing it to help you, not to help any others. I think if anyone's going to
Exactly.
take anything from that, you've got to just take that quote from Amelia because damn, like the motivation is just drip feeding in. Like every single time I'm hearing a sentence, I'm like, oh, I need to be writing that down because whoa, even though I don't have dyslexia myself, I'm just like all these little things I can drip feed into my own life. And I think you're just like, oh, I'm just like blown away because like I did not expect on this Monday morning just to be sat here recording this episode and just to be like, damn, like damn, all the fucking little all the little motivational things. And I think it's really testament to who you are, to your parents, to both of them. And I think one thing I do want to ask is how have they helped you along the journey with dyslexia?
I honestly would say the most supportive parents in the world. Like, they love me, I love them so much, and they have helped me through everything. Like, whether that's just going to a dyslexia screening to see how I'm doing, or emailing the school and saying she's struggling. Is there anything else she can do? Like, they have pushed me to every boundary, I want to say. There are times where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to quit. I'm going to drop out. And they have said, no, why? Why now? Keep going. So I honestly couldn't have done anything that I've done without them.
I think that in itself is everything. Like I think from even like the small number of conversations I've had with your parents, it's just like they are so inspiring. Like to see
Hmm.
even their journeys, to see your dad's and how obviously went into painting and decorating to driving school and even your mum and her journey into fostering, like just seeing the different journeys along even the short
Hmm.
period of time. I think it's a real testament to them, like to them as individuals, because they're just incredible. They
They are.
genuinely are. And just like knowing that them two have formed you and has created this like unbelievably superpower of a human, this like powerful woman that stands on business. And I think a lot of it is just a testament to how you were raised and how different circumstances would happen or play out in the home. And I think it really is a fundamental. It's like if you have that supportive background, like nothing will stop you, nothing will get in the way. And I think that is really just a testament to your family.
I think, every parent wants the absolute best for their child. And I think there are so many different ways that they can show that. But honestly, mine just was so supportive through every leap and boundary, through every twist and curve in the road. They were just there all of the time. Whether it was me messaging them saying, "Oh my God, I just got my first four in maths," and them coming back of like, "Oh my God," like insane, to, after I passed my driving test, I got a little card. Like, it's they're the cutest things ever, and I, couldn't thank them enough for what they've done.
I think in itself, it is just damn. I'm just like, it's the small things that mean the most. And I think
Mm,
if you probably didn't have those moments, like, yeah, you might feel a bit bad or like upset in the situation, but it's knowing that like they will do anything for you. And like you spoke about, obviously with dyslexia and like how they've helped you along that journey, it's like it's become sort of revolutionary in a way, I
hmm.
want to say, because it's like it's something that they've probably never really known about, I'd want to say, or had experience with it.
Um,
Is that so
to be
true
fair,
to say?
dyslexia is run in my family.
Oh, has it?
Like, yeah, so a couple of my uncles have it. My dad's got traits of it. My brother's severely dyslexic. So, but I'm the first girl to have got it, and I think that's
Oh,
the shift that they didn't see coming, because normally I think it's proven that it runs more likely in males. I'm not 100% sure though.
I think I think that's good in a way, like just knowing that as well, so to speak, that they've had that experience, that you
Mm,
understand it, because I feel like that's definitely helped you in your journey. Like you have
yeah.
more of a support system around you because you have your uncles, you have your older brother, you have your dad who's showed signs of it. Like you have people in your life that you can go to. And I think that's really encouraging because we see
Yeah.
a lot in social media. No one speaks about dyslexia, or like I don't see any person speaking big about that what dyslexia actually does to your life or like the effect that dyslexia can have on your work. And I think it's really a testament to your family and to you as
Mm,
well for having the courage to speak about it. So I really like thank you so much for like that small part for just speaking
that's
about
okay.
it and being truthful and honest. And I think moving forward or on from speaking about dyslexia, one thing I wanted to kind of ask, and it's more of a sort of like weird question, is we have two varying opinions on this subject. And I kind of flip back to that drive back from Tate McRae, and I don't know what time it was like 11 or 12, but I distinctively remember it was on the way back to Tate from Tate. And we were just speaking about it, and you said, Coalville isn't a bad place. Like, I love it here. Like I love the surrounding areas. And I was like, are you actually having me on? Because I'm like the complete opposite. I'm like, get me as far away as possible. I'm only there to see my friends and I'm there to see my family. That is it. I'm like, I have no emotional attachment. Why? What is your reason for liking the place?
Um, I honestly think it's because I'm such a homebody. Like, I moved here from Luton, which was a hell of a place when I was 11, and I think this is really where I just found myself. You know, me and my family have created a lovely home here. We've, like you keep bringing up, we've fostered lots of children here, and I just think, although it's not the nicest place on earth, it is a place where, me and my family live, and I want to make the most of that because, you know, I do really like it here. It's a quiet town and my house is here. So for me, this is, yeah, I like it and I wouldn't see myself moving away from it anytime soon, really.
I think that is just more of a testament to you than it is because I'm like, obviously I have the different opinion, but then looking at it from the other side, it kind of makes me self-reflect. 'Cause it's like, Kalen, what the fuck have you been like portraying? Because like you said, like you're a homebody, like it's nice to have all your family there and it's nice for everybody to be there. Like, and I feel like that in itself is just everything. Like, if you've got family means everything, and like if you've got your family, that's more than enough. And I think that has
Exactly.
genuinely like kind of changed my perspective on the place, to be honest, because I'm like, yeah, my family are all there as well. So it's kind of like making me think about a few things and making me consider things.
Yeah. I mean, like having my brother 5 minutes down the road with my nephew, like just being able to pop in and just be like, oh, hey, you know, or, just being able to meet at a local pub for a drink, you know, although they're not the nicest pubs, they're still somewhere where me and my family can all go and meet and enjoy time together. So for me, although it's not the best place that there is, it's where I live, it's where I've kind of grown up, it's where I found myself. So I'm not going to say that I don't like it here because I really do.
I think that in itself is just the epitome as to who you are. Like, you just, it's the simple things. It's just more like, it's enough. Like, that is what I've dreamed of ever since being a little girl, is finding a place that suits me, suits our family, just fits in with like who we are, like what we like to do. Like, there's so many things that you can do in the surrounding areas, sort of like go to Leicester, go to Nottingham, go to Derby, though you've never been, but like,
I have been now. I
oh,
have
have
been.
you?
I went shopping.
Oh my God, what was it like?
It was nice. There was a nice shopping centre. I'm just not
Oh,
sure I could see myself living there,
oh,
but
okay.
I'm not. So,
I guess that's like, I'm glad that I made that whole decision now, not moving there.
yeah, a little
Um,
bit. A little bit.
I mean, and I know one thing that as well that like you've spoken about is it's nice to have your entire family there. It's nice for everyone to be there. But one thing that we actually reconnected in a way, because I know we went through like a brief period where we didn't really speak as often because we were both in different, I'd say, avenues of our life. We were both doing completely different things in different universes, so to speak. But one thing that brought us closer than ever was talking about mental health and the stigma that mental health has. And if you don't mind sharing, what has that journey kind of been like for you, especially over the past few years?
So I have always really, really struggled with anxiety, and it's not really until early 2025 that I actually came to terms with it. And I mean, for me, it has literally been part of my life since I was like 3. Like, I remember for birthdays, I used to get so anxious, even though it was my birthday. Like, going to school, sitting an exam, it used to literally break me down to absolutely nothing. So, in the end, I finally spoke to somebody at uni and just said, what do I do? Because I had no clue. I've not really done much research into mental health. I've not really, I know it's really being spoken about at the minute, which is amazing. But prior to that, I'd not really heard or seen much about it. And she guided me to go to the doctors, where they finally diagnosed with severe anxiety. And yeah, now I'm doing amazing.
I think that in itself is just like, I couldn't have been prouder to hear it
Mm,
because just like sitting here knowing that it's not always been easy, it's not always been as plain
mm,
sailing because there's always these things that go on behind the scenes in everybody's life and that everyone's suffering with. And like you said, it's only now that mental health has really been at the forefront. And I think we were the sort of generation that it kind of skipped. Like
Mm,
our cohort was like, they were only slowly bringing in mental health therapists just as we were transitioning to a new institution that probably didn't have as many mental health institution like individuals speaking about it. And I
mm,
think we were kind of like that generation, especially the COVID pandemic and how that probably accelerated a lot of people's mental health challenges. I feel like in itself, it's just really encouraging to see that you can have this thing that has been a part of you for your entire life, but you've not realized that it is actually something and that it is something that you can work on and you can use tools to help in, so to speak. So, in that essence, and obviously since it being just over a year now, are there any tools that you've kind of learned that you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience as to that help you sort of like cope?
I think for me is that I think when it comes to sort of anxiety and things like that, there's two different routes that you can go down. And I think you can go down the medication route and you can go down sort of like the therapy, the, self technique route. For me, I chose to go down the medication route for the start because I, in all honesty, needed a quick fix. I needed something that was going to get me through my exams in that summer, that was going to help me to just calm down, to not get so worked up. So I went down the medication route, and honestly, I don't think I would change it. Like, I don't want to say I'm like reliant because I'm not, like, but it is a really, really helpful tool. And if you are scared to go down it, there are so many questions that you can ask to gather more information and things like that. Like, I remember the day before I was put on it, I was scrolling through TikTok, finding people that are also on it that were happy to openly talk about it. And it's not as bad as it's made out to be if that's the route that you want to choose.
I think that is just a lesson. Like, I'm just like really proud of you for having the courage to talk about it, for wanting to be really open about it as well and transparent, because I think not many people talk about it. Like, nobody speaks about it. There are actually two routes you can go down. There is the medication route that I think a lot of people don't want to talk about because I feel like there's still that stigma of
There is.
talking about it. But then on the flip side, there isn't as much of a stigma because of therapy, and everyone's like, therapy, therapy, therapy. And I think, like we've both spoken about, therapy has actually been a useful thing for both of us in our own ways. And it's a good way. Like, I remember when I was in therapy at the time, just like that was like my tool to vent. Like, that was just for me to be like, this person did this, and this. And I'm like, whatever. And that was like my outlet. And I think, in a way, I think it's the best thing that anyone could do is
Mm,
in art, like my opinion, is the medication route, because without it, I don't know where I would be.
mm. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I did a bit of a mix of both. Like, I took medication, but I also did speak to people quite often, like quite a lot. Like, luckily, I have really supportive best friends that I was able to go and speak to and get their view or get their opinion. And I think that in itself was really, really helpful, knowing that I wasn't alone in the situation. Like, I think even speaking to you and figuring out that neither of us knew that we had this problem, or not a problem, it's not a problem at all. Like, we had this.
Yeah.
And, sharing was actually really useful because now we know that we've got somebody that's one text message away, that we can just drop a message and say, hey, look, what do you think? Or I'm struggling with this.
I think that in itself is just, if anyone is ever struggling or going through something, one of the most useful things you can do is just talk to someone. I think as well, like I speak about my experience, like our conversation was one of the very first open conversations that I ever had with anyone talking about anxiety, because everyone's like, oh no, there's not much of a stigma about mental health anymore. I feel like it takes a lot of courage to actually be
Mm,
open and to speak about suffering from anxiety, suffering in my case from social anxiety. And I was like, it was such a hard thing because I was in a phase where I didn't really have that many friends in first year. I hadn't really formed as deeper connections, but it's like knowing that there is someone out there that is there for you, that regardless if they're 200 miles away or 100 miles away, they're just there by a text. And it's like, I know that I can always go to Amelia. I can always go to you to speak about anything. And I think having that in the back of my mind, I think that's a real lesson. I think, but it's also a testament to your friendship circle. I think it's a
Yeah,
testament to the people that you find in your life. And so, on that note, with like the people in your life and your friendships, do you feel your friendships have evolved since going on this sort of like journey? Because I know that a lot of people really speak about that when you're in the sort of like healing phase, or this is how I kind of went about it, or I don't know if it was the right way or if it was the wrong way. And I think it's very much more bespoke, but the healing phase is sort of the phase where you're very private and you're isolated. And it's sort of the lonely chapter. But then when you're growing, you become super picky and you start to want to cut people off or just cut people out that no longer align. And then you reach that phase of peace where you just don't care. You don't care who enters, who leaves, but you're just very self-centered on, I know how I want to live my life. Do you think your friendships have evolved ever since going on that sort of journey to speak?
I think so. I think there's been a few friends that I've not lost contact with, but have decreased contact with quite a lot. Just because it was, yeah, like you said, it was like our things didn't align. You know, different views, different personalities. We both moved, well, a couple of us moved on. And I think that's fair enough. Like, that is life at the end of the day. People are going to come in and out. And you just have to let that be. But, you know, I found friends at uni who are amazing. So, but letting those old people not out, but, you know, pushing them slightly further out has let them come in. So,
That's the essence, I think. Let them let you. Like the four
mhm.
words that Mel Robbins obviously speaks about, and everyone knows how much I rant and rave about Mel, which I'm pretty sure you it was like one of like the first things I'd said when we were speaking about it. I think that in itself is the essence. It's just like being at peace, being just like knowing who you are to the core is everything, and you can just sort of go on this journey. You can find who aligns with you. You can depart and let them leave, but it's completely okay. As long as you stay true to who you are and who you are to the core.
Mhm. Definitely.
And I think in that essence, I think it's just the epitome is to having the courage and having the strength to being open. And I think being open about how you feel about situations, being open about communicating, being open about knowing that this doesn't actually feel right. And I want to take a stance by it. I really want to change up the way I feel, change my attributes. And I think a lot of that is just time. And it takes a lot of time.
Definitely.
And I think on our journeys, it's sort of it's not a setback, it's a lesson. It's
Mhm.
something that you use as a tool. And I think in that case, it's just, it kind of, as well, in our case, brought us closer together. I think we, like I said, we did go through that period where we were in contact, but it was very like, we wasn't as close, so to speak, because we had other friendships and we both were doing completely different things. And I think when you look at like, when I look at the full circle, I'm like that. I'm very glad that I had went that through that because if I hadn't gone through that, I don't think friendships would have evolved or changed or be as strong as they are now. Do you feel like because of that, with your friendships, it has remotely been the best thing that you could have done?
I think so. I think, you know, I think we lost contact for a bit because you moved away and focused on uni, and I did the same thing. I was very focused on uni. But I think, like you said, finding each other again, you know, realistically, we were literally a phone call away, a message away. And I think that was so nice to know is that although we weren't regularly speaking, we were always going to be there. We was always going to be best friends. We was always going to be there for each other. And I think that's really nice to know.
100% because it was like, and I remember, and I'm gonna big you up because I'm like I cannot like leave this podcast without saying it. But like for those that don't know, Amelia was like my first ever proper friend, so to speak. Like yeah. So I was going through like secondary school, year 7 to 11, I had shitty friends in a shit friendship group with like 20 odd lads, thinking I was the thing with them. When there was a lot of things going on, like a lot of racism, a lot of just like fucking awful things that I became sort of like a part of, thinking that I needed to be cool to fit in. Didn't do any of those things, but was just like stood in the background whilst observing all those things happen. And it wasn't until I met Amelia that I was like, this is actually what a friendship is. This is what friendships are, and forming that kind of like group that we did with Yaz and Lydia and Jen and Josiah and I think Jack, and like that mini
Hmm.
group. I think that was like the first time I ever really created a friendship with anyone with you. And I think it's so nice that we reconnected. And just, I think for me, it's just like such a crazy feeling because it's like I never knew how to be a friend or had that. And finding you was just like the best thing that probably ever happened to me in my life. And so for that, I'm incredibly grateful for you, for the part that you've played in my life. I just wanted to ask, is there anything going on the sort of journey that you have been over the past few years? Is there anything that you would change, or do you live your life with regrets?
I don't regret anything. I think everything that you see that you could possibly see as regret is just a lesson. You know, I don't regret things. I just think they could have been done differently. And I mean, some will say that is what a regret is, but I don't put that word on it. Um, but yeah, I don't think so. No, not really.
I think that's a lesson. Like that, like you said, it's just a lesson. Everything that you do is a lesson. And obviously, we've spoken a lot about our journeys from studying at GCSEs to where we first met, to going to see Tate, to being in second year and figuring out what our career path's going to look like after uni. For you, it's 2026, it's just turned the corner. Where do you envision your life going this year? And how do you want to continue growing?
I think for me, I can see myself like really trying to lock in with uni this year because let's just say last year I didn't lock in too hard, and I've still not. So I need to get into gear and lock in. Um, but I think realistically, all I want from this year is just to be one step closer to graduation because I'm so excited for it, but I'm so nervous for it at the same time. Like, I can't wait to do like the dress shopping and all of that and go in with my friends, but I'm so nervous to like finally get to that chapter of like education is done. So yeah, but alongside that, obviously I want to stay with Jacob and, I want to financially better myself as well,
I
which
mean
I'm
that
going to learn from you.
I mean that in itself is just like, whoa, like you really thought about where you want to see your life, and you know how you want to do to get to that life. And one thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm so happy you just brought it up, was money, because everyone speaks about how much I just basically love talking about money, if anyone knows, and just like I'm just like, guys, it's fine. Here's all the money tips. It's fine. I'll just drip feed. So I've got some quick fire questions that I wanted to ask you for any other uni student out there, because I know that my sort of like style of how I do money is probably completely different to yours and how everyone else or other people want to do it. So I thought, why not just ask some quick fire questions about money? So my first one is do you think student finance is a tax or a loan?
Alone? Because
I
I
mean,
have to
there's
pay
no
back.
right or wrong answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, like I think it's more of a loan. They're just paying me money to live right now, aren't they? And I just have to pay it back.
exactly. And I think there's no right or wrong to it. Obviously, a lot of people want to say it's a loan, some people want to say it's a tax. I think at the end of the day, there isn't the right or wrong. Do you think that the maintenance grant that students get is enough?
I don't even know. I mean, I live at home, so obviously, like, I don't have to pay rent and things like that. So I don't even think I get a maintenance loan. I don't know.
No, that's okay. And if, I mean, it's probably a weird question to ask right now, but How do you have any tips sort of for anybody on how to budget?
Yeah, actually, I do budget. You'd be so proud of me. um, I think living at home is quite different to living away because living away, everything is on you. Whereas I think, you have to pay when you're living away, you have to pay things like food, any gym membership that you want to do, any sporting activity that you want to do, live life as well. Whereas at home, you can have a bit more of a free money situation because if you're as fortunate as I am to live at home and not have to pay rent and not have to pay food bills, etc., I'm very fortunate for that. But it gives me a bit more of a financial freedom in a way. Um, but I still budget my money every week. I give myself a selected amount every week, and that is that. But I have to fill my car from that. I have to pay my insurance from that, my tax from that, my phone bills, any other bills, etc. So I would always say budget because it's a good way to keep money intact and things like that, especially like me who likes to spend a lot of it.
I know. I mean, the endless shopping trips to Zara and
Mm,
I know the endless Nando's, the
I just love shopping.
honestly, I mean, I
I
don't
love
blame you.
shopping.
I'm like, it's the best thing. And obviously, I know you spoke just briefly about sort of like budgeting for car and obviously commuting. For those that might be considering moving to uni or not moving or going to uni but staying at home, if you could give like sort of a rough amount, how much do you think you spend on transport using your car and sort of that roughly?
Oof. Well, my insurance is quite high.
Yeah.
Um, my tax is actually really low. I pay £35 a year in tax. So, but that's for driving a little Fiat. So, but petrol depends because I was very lucky and found a girl at uni who I now call my best friend, but she lives literally 5 minutes away. So we do a lot of lift sharing, which has obviously helped me in that way a lot. But I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's probably not as much as people think, But I guess that completely depends on how far you live from the uni that you want to go to.
I think that's just like the perfect answers. I think at the end of the day, like, because obviously my perspective is completely different. Like you said, like, we basically are fending for ourselves, whereas yours is like a different perspective. And to be fair, I think from hearing your voice and how your experience has gone, I hope it opens the door for a lot of more people to really consider, you know what? Uni's such a burden as it is already now. The cost of living is slowly coming down, but not as quick as people want it to come down. That maybe living at home might be a good decision for me and creating that sort of financial stability for my future. And there's one thing that I did wanted to ask specifically about that entire journey, because I know, you love to spend, and it's always been like your sort of thing ever since I've known you from being your 15-year-old self. But if there was one thing that you could say to that 15-year-old version of you, what would you tell her right now about your entire journey in life?
That everything will work out. Everything happens for a reason. Everything will work out. If things go wrong, it went wrong for a reason.
Everything will work out. I think that is just like one of the perfect ways to just kind of end the episode towards the end is just knowing that everything will work out in some way or another. It may not be now, may not be right in the future, but it'll be at some point, everything will. And so a tradition that I'm starting as it's season two is, and you're going to be the first one to try it, so hopefully it goes well, is I want to end with some more rapid fire questions, but these are the
Okay.
same that will continue for like every guest. So the
Okay.
first one is what is one thing that you are grateful for right now?
Uh, the people around me.
The best answer you could probably ever give to that.
Yeah, the people around me, they're the best. And I couldn't have asked for better people, to be fair.
What is one thing that you're excited about for the future? And you
To
can't say moving
graduate.
in with Jacob.
To graduate.
Okay. Are you happy and are you at peace?
I am at both, yeah.
What is one habit that you've kind of learned or adopted since being at uni that has helped you navigate the journey?
Oh, I'd actually say probably like going to bed at a decent time. I think in first year I struggled a lot with like staying up way too late, whereas this year I've been quite on the ball because I think because I do such a practical degree, I have to have slept. Like there is no choice. So I think this year I've actually gone. I'm doing quite well at it at the minute.
You heard it all here, guys. Sleep is essential for anything. Like getting your
It
eight
is.
hours, getting your 7 to 8. Like if you don't, it's clearly gonna just like ruin the entire
Mm.
focus of the thing. And speaking about going to sleep, what does your morning routine look like once you wake up?
It's completely different to yours. Let's say that. I am not going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. My morning routine, I take a very chill morning routine. I get up, I go downstairs, I have my breakfast, and the one thing that I always do, no matter where I am, have a cup of tea. If I don't get it, day's not going well. Um, get ready, go to uni. That is that.
You sound just like my mother with the whole cup of tea thing. Like she cannot function without having a cup
I
of tea. Like,
can't.
don't fucking talk to me. I need to have my cup of tea and watch EastEnders. That is it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I can't. Honestly, I have to have like two a day, or it's like a bad day.
oh, I mean, what, do you have any sugars with it, or is it just
Yeah, two. Got to keep them sweet.
you have? And I think that is just like the perfect way to end the episode. Just like my morning routine's different from yours, and I think that is acceptable. Like everyone does life differently, and I think it's you can still be in alignment with each other and still do things completely different to each other, and that is absolutely fine. And I just wanted to say to our listeners, I think what really stood out for me today from this conversation is how growth doesn't always come from dramatic changes. And it can be sometimes in the quiet decisions. It's in staying rooted, it's having those people around you in your circle that kind of give you that motivational switch that has probably taken a lot of like hard times, but has led to the biggest shift, the biggest mental shift. And I think speaking about and listening to Amelia talk about her journey with dyslexia, her journey with mental health, and studying a degree that is so niche that I'd never heard of before, and pushing through every single one of those challenges and the hard times is really just a testament to who she is as a woman. It's about knowing that she can ask for help and that it's okay to ask for help and trusting that whatever happens, happens because everything happens for a reason. And so, from today's episode, I just really wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Amelia for sharing her story from university, relationships, and these are all things that stretch us. But what I've admired most from Amelia is her continuation of growing without losing sight of what that end goal of becoming a police officer is. She has proved that you don't have to move cities to move forward or reach that goal, and that you can heal, but also continue growing and being ambitious at the same time. And so, if you're listening and you've ever felt behind, misunderstood, or unsure, I hope that this episode reminded you that your journey is valid and that the pace that you go at is enough. Amelia, thank you for your honesty, your humor, and for being such an incredible person in my life and for the listeners today. Oops. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you.